Given the vastness of the universe, the fact that we exist at all is a miracle. Each light speck in this NASA image is a galaxy, one of 200 billion galaxies in the visible universe. Our Milky Way alone contains 100 billion stars. The fact that I exist and have survived this long is a miracle too. A few years ago, I got into a bicycle accident that injured my brain and put me in a coma. When consciousness returned, I was in a pre-verbal state, unable to walk or control my body. Yet now here I am, talking to you. The miracle of survival made me realize many things. For one, I believe making something you care about is worthwhile. It fills you with meaning, it connects you with others, and it enriches the world. One thing that's really mattered to me is Plasm Magazine. This is our most recent issue, but we originally came together in 1991. A group of artists and writers here in Portland wanted to find avenues of expression at a time when mass media was controlled by 5 corporations. Back then, people couldn't blog about politics or post new artwork to Instagram because the internet looked like this. We saw Plasm as a counterpoint to the media monopoly, a beacon, a way to put our ideas into the world and to see them take on a life of their own. My first interview was with Jello Biafra of the Dead Kennedys. We walked up to him with a tape recorder after one of his shows. He said something really prescient to me that day, which sort of became a manifesto. He said, "Don't hate the media, become the media." So we did. We jumped in, not knowing anything about business or publishing. We pooled our money to print the first 4 issues. To find distributors, we looked in the mastheads of magazines like Mondo 2000 and Anarchy. We didn't know the mechanics of magazine distribution were so shitty, or that making it hard for even big magazines to survive. We wanted to keep Plasm affordable to other artists. The cover price of issue number 4 was $3.25, and we ran 2,000 copies. Even if we sold every copy, it still would have lost money. We were also experimenting with typography a lot in our layouts. We thought, hey, let's sell fonts. Emigre does it. Fonts were a lot of fun, but at $60 a pop on a floppy disk, they didn't really pay the bills. Advertising brought in money, and still does, but not enough to cover our costs, let alone to pay us. So how could Plasm survive? Well, all this working for free, making something important to us, had an unexpected side effect. We were learning about business, but also business was learning about us. Flashback a few years, just out of design school, I dropped my portfolio off at Wyden and Kennedy's offices, then in the Deacon building. I remember getting the come pick it up call. No interview, no note, just pick it up. Then the magazine came out. It caught the eye of John Boyler, an art director at Wyden. He started designing spreads for us, like this. One day, I was meeting with him at their studio, and it was really busy, so they asked me to help out, which I proceeded to do for the next 4 years. The magazine was a labor of love, but our experiments with form and process and content eventually led to calls from brands like MTV and Nike. So we started our own studio, Plasm Design, to support our magazine habit. It really took off. Global brands like Adobe, Sony, ESPN, publishers invited us to write and design books. Historic brands like Janssen came to us for rebranding. Through client work, we could also promote sustainability and help nonprofits that we cared about. We even got invited to Skywalker Ranch, which is George Lucas's top secret compound. Of course, running a business is hard, especially for a bunch of artists. Some of our people moved to New York for a while. Sometimes we took other day jobs and ran Plasm as a side project. Plasm has continued to be an importer and exporter of culture, Portland was slowly putting itself on a cultural map. The magazine has been part of all that. We put on rock shows and poetry readings. We screen films and cultivate and curate installations. Local artists and designers we publish later go on to the Whitney and Venice Biennale. It hasn't all been cocktails and drag queens, though. The city demolished our warehouse to make way for the Max line. A large client went bankrupt, leaving us with a buttload of debt. And it was painful to part ways with a friend and business partner. But all in all, it's been a great ride. These days, Plasm is celebrating a rebirth. We had a party here at Holocene a couple weeks ago to launch the Plasm Farmhouse Ale, brewed by one of our favorite clients, Fort George. My longtime partner, Nico, moved back from New York, and we had a lot of fun designing that can. 20 years later, the magazine still doesn't make any money, but now it's officially nonprofit, supported by grants from RAC and the Oregon Arts Commission. We're collaborating with Studio Riley on the next issue, with contributors around the world talking about creativity in their own communities. The magazine survived, Plasm Design survived, and miraculously, I survived. I believe everything that we do matters. Trust yourself, love what you do, then go do it.